G'day and welcome back to my hobby room. Now look, it may have seemed like I've been bashing Airfix of late, and look, it's not true. I love Airfix, I really do. Okay, this hood kit, right, the American release, which I've never seen one of before, Airfix of America Corporation, never heard of it before, and the kit was nothing like I remember the hood when I built it. Now I must have built it probably the very end of the 60s or early 70s. So looking back in Scalemates, the one that I built kind of looks like the 1973 kit. So by then they had put numbers on the sprue and they'd improved things. It was better. That's the one I remember. So yeah, the early 60s hood, or at least the ones coming out of America, are pretty bloody terrible. So. Now then, of course, jump all the way to present day, 2024, and I've been waiting for this kit. I've been anticipating this kit. I really wanted to see a 1/48 scale bloody bulldog, and it was so frustrating, annoying. It was so un-Airfix to me. It was dreadful. I didn't like it. I did not enjoy the experience. It simply wasn't what I expected from Airfix. It wasn't what I was used to. It wasn't what I enjoyed. And so, again, I was sourly disappointed. So, okay, there's been two rotten apples. But look, we can look back in history of a lot of better stuff. Tons of kits back in the 60s, 70s, sure. Okay, but let's just look recently. Only last year, I built this. The Sunderland, right? Loved it. Absolutely loved it. That was a present from Beck over Christmas a bloody while back. Thoroughly enjoyed it. You know, great big Airfix 172 Sunderland. Terrific. I mean, I hadn't built it when I was younger because it was too big and too expensive and, it just wouldn't fit my bathtub. So there you go. That was a recent release. It was about a 90s release of the old 1960 or 1959 kit, I think it was. And also similarly, Airfix motorbike, right? The BMW R69, fantastic kit, loved it. And that was about a 75 release of a much earlier 1950s kit. Admittedly a bit of a rebox of someone else's, but it was an Airfix kit that I thoroughly enjoyed. And look, there's even been modern ones that I've had fun with, okay? So the Buccaneer, got that when it came out, right? That was like, 2019, enjoyed that. Thoroughly enjoyed it, it was terrific, not a problem at all. All right, good kit. This was Airfix. It was a modern Airfix. It was sort of less fiddling and faffing about to do, but it's still a nice kit. All right. And the Spitfire that I built, that was a recent 21st century moulding, and in fact it was a new release. And that particular model, a lot of people bitched and complained about it. This didn't fit. And I showed in a video how easy it was just to adjust a few things. Bingo bongo, it all fitted together perfectly. And there's many more that I could talk about. The Warspite that I'm currently building. The St. Louis that I'm currently building, right? The Prince that I'm getting started on and looking forward to building. All Airfix kits. Loved them all. They're really good. It's just been a run of a few weird kits lately that have thrown me for a six. Anyhow, I want to talk about an Airfix kit I'm building right now, and I love it. So, let's get on with that. Roll the music. So what am I building right now from Airfix that I really like? Yes, it's Hercules. Hercules is great. I mean, okay, it's an old 60s kit, right? And it's been reboxed to the buggery, but it's been re-released. And this is only like a few years old for the pressing of the mould by Airfix, one of their vintage classics, right? So it's got the new plastic and, a few other things, but it still has all the charm. It still has all the joy. This kit has the things that I like about Airfix. It has the kind of build sequence, the quality, the ability to modify, all these sort of things that I thoroughly love. So I'll tell you what, let's look at a few other kits that I've built lately, which are Airfix, and I'll tell you why they were so great. And then we'll go back and compare that to the two bad eggs, and you'll see what the problem was. Now, a decade ago, when I returned to the hobby after a hiatus of, quite a few dozen years, because I'd been building kits in the 60s and 70s, as I've said many times, and when it got to the 80s, I really wasn't. I remember I had a kit at home when I got married, and my missus said, "You don't play with toys, do you?" Yeah. So I got rid of the kit. Should have got rid of the missus. Well, I did that later on. It took me about 8 years till I figured that out. But anyhow, so I didn't do any skull modelling. It was a silly thing that kids did, and but it's not. And it wasn't until later on, in the middle of the 20-teens, right, about 10 years ago, there I am sitting around wondering what to bloody do with myself, because sort of had a period where I was out of work and there wasn't much money, and I And I ended up, as I've told the story before, I watched the Battle of the River Plate and I went, oh wow. And I went, I never ever built the Graf Spee when I built all those Airfix kits. So I got the Warspite because I couldn't find a Graf Spee in the store. Warspite was a kit that I had built in the 60s, and my enthusiasm and I love for modelling was rekindled. And this was a pretty bad kit. I mean, I've got two of them and I'm totally rebuilding the Airfix Warspite now. And it's an old, flashy sort of kit with lots of problems. Sure, you know, that was to be expected. And I had no problems when I sort of opened it up. I didn't expect it to be fantastic. Now, one of the other things that happened when I first came back to the hobby is a group were doing a build sort of thing when I first got onto Facebook and met all the other modelers there. And they, I forget what the topic was, but anyhow, it had to be something unusual. And I decided I wanted to build a Skyhawk. And luckily, Airfix built a Skyhawk and also Tamiya. And they had the two kits in the store and I looked at either and the Airfix kit looked better, and it was. And I'd never built Tamiya, so I had no idea what it was. This was before my incident with the T-34, which was my first Tamiya kit. Yeah, go back and watch that video, see how impressed I was with Tamiya after all the years of Airfix. Anyhow, I've got this Airfix Skyhawk, right? Fantastic kit, really good. I was so impressed with the quality. I loved the fit. I remember to this day I have not glued the wings to the fuselage. They just clicked in, which I thought was incredible. There's still a little bit of fiddling and faffing to do with it that I didn't think twice about. But that was Airfix. That's what we did. And that was a new kit, and I painted it up like Australian version, and I couldn't get the right decals, and the only kangaroos I could get all face one way, so that's how I had to build it up. And then I got bloody shouted down and ridiculed, and so many people befriended me, and there was a big guffaw about it. The thing is, all the kangaroos, right, with the Australian insignia have to face forward, so some of them are left facing and some of them right facing, depending which side of the aircraft they're on. And I kind of knew that, but I mean, I didn't have them. That's all I got. And so yeah, I ended up doing that video, turn me kangaroos round, mate, that little sing-along, which became quite popular. So yes, and I introduced you to the banjo as well. Yes, yeah, that could have been a good or a bad thing, but anyhow, it is what it is. So yes, the Skyhawk, it was a new tooled Airfix kit from 2012, I think it came out, and I built it about 10 years ago. Loved it, really good. And as I said, I've also made a recent release Spitfire, loved it, needed some correction, no problem. This is Airfix. I expect to have to do a bit of work. I expect to model. I expect to have to put some effort into it and make the thing work, okay? That's, to me, was scale modelling. Scale modelling wasn't click, 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 or grab the box, shake it, throw glue in, and there's your instant model. I'd never heard of that, and that didn't interest me. Okay, so I know there's plenty of people that like a model that goes together really easily, and they like the whole Tamiya sort of thing, and that's fine, And I wasn't worried about deep panel lines and all the rest of it. It didn't matter. It's a model. It's a model. Even if you had exact 2-scale replica panel lines, you wouldn't see them on a plastic model. They'd be hairline cracks, okay? Every panel line on every single model, unless it's a really large, big, 124 scale, they're overscale, all right? Because everything is an interpolation, right? Is basically the best you can do to make it kind of look like what you're trying to present. And this is the thing. So this whole crap about Airfix panel lines being big enough to... They were designed so you could paint them with a brush, a hairy brush, using acrylic paint, right? Which would fill up. And that's how it was. And you could still go over and do a wash and you get a result. Now, of course, all you buggers, you Tamiya buggers have got airbrushes and you're putting tiny microns of lacquer paint on, and then putting very fine oils on and doing your washes. Totally different world. That wasn't Airfix. We weren't in that world. We didn't have lacquer paints. Most of us didn't have airbrushes. We just didn't know about that. The best we had was some Humbrol paint and we'd slap it on. And Airfix was great for that. And there's even more. The Iron Dickhead, I don't know how you say it, it's a German word. I think it means one dick. Anyhow, it came out in 2016 and I bought it straight away. And it was a fantastic kit. I loved it. I had so much fun with it. I specially ribbed it and did all this kind of stuff, and rigged it and, it was a joy to work on. It was fiddly. Some of the parts were a little hard for me. We're starting to get to that fiddly Airfix stage. But I still thoroughly enjoyed it. And I even won a place in modelling competitions. I don't think I got first. I might have. I don't know. I did well. I remember that. I was quite surprised at my little... Because it's only like tiny. It's only, a tiny handful. So that was a fantastic kit too. And that's new tool Airfix, right? They'd never had that one before. Even the 2013 release of the Hawker Fury, which was an old kit from the 1980s, which had been a rebox of something else. It had been some dreadful other makes kit, so it wasn't really that good. It was that period back in the 80s where the company that, the people that owned Airfix were reboxing anything from everywhere. So a lot of the Airfix kits you got, they weren't Airfix kits. They were bloody dreadful. And that, unfortunately, was the rise of Tamiya period, and that's where a lot of the modelers that are much younger than me, right, they got into modelling, and the Airfix kits they were getting were dreadful. They were bloody dreadful. Of course they were. They weren't Airfix. That's why. There's this greedy little company that was sort of, the greedy consortium that was running Airfix was just trying to get bucks, and they just screwed everything down, put out crap and didn't care because they traded off the Airfix name, and it was a bad, dark time. There were some good kits in that period, but they're few and far between, and you've got to know what's good and what's bad. But this Hawker Fury, it had its problems, and I've done a whole video on that. It certainly had problems, and more problems than I was used to. I was quite surprised at how bad it was. But it was an Airfix kit, and at least it was a re-release, recent, new plastic, good decals, all the rest of it. So I pushed on, and I did really well with that as well. That got a little place in a competition somewhere, or at least somebody said they liked it. I don't know, but it did fairly well. And not that matters. I mean, placing in competition is not worth shit, okay? It doesn't. I'm just saying that other people went and looked at it and thought, yeah, that's all right. It's not bad, considering the kit, considering its age. So the thing is, Airfix, to me, has always been a joy. Even when I came back to the hobby after the hiatus, even though they were still old mouldings, it's still, the process of building them was a joy. Now, the thing is, different people have different ideas what a bad kit is. So to some people, the new Bulldog is a fantastic kit because it's over-engineered and it's over-detailed and the rest of it. They consider that the criterion for a good kit. I couldn't give a shit about that. All right? As long as there's enough detail there and there's probably space for me to add more, then I'm happy. As long as it's reasonably easy to build, but it isn't quite a click together, that's boring. It's got to go together reasonably well, at least sort of fit and be, not too bad. But there's a little fettling to do, and the art of making the kit perfect is that little bit of sanding and all the little things that you do. And I like that bit of engineering. I like that bit of work, okay? It's only a little bit, don't get me wrong. It's not like some shithole Revel kit. Some of those dreadful old Revel America kits, absolute bloody rubbish. And Monogram as well, I'm looking at you. They were bloody dreadful. They're dreadful to put together. They take a bloody ton of bloody putty. Airfix that I knew was never like that. They were nice kits. They were perfect for their period. They went together reasonably well. You were involved in the model build because you had to do a few things. The results were as good as you wanted them to be, or you could just build them straight out of the box and it was okay. It was adequate. You could hang it from your bloody ceiling on a piece of string and go, look, there's a Spitfire. And that's all it was for. It was fun. It was enjoyable. Now, there seems to be this whole run of people now in the whole modelling community. It's all about exactness of scale and complexity of the bloody kit and all the rest of it, and CAD this and photo etch that. Bullshit! Well, it's bullshit for me, okay? If that's your bag and that's what you want to do and you want to have a miserable time building your model because it's over-engineered and there's too much crap that you've got to add to it and it's just frustrating hours of doing things, you must lead a boring life, and maybe that's what you need. You need something that's kind of frustrating and annoying. And get a wife. No, a lot of wives are good. Apparently, I don't know. I've never had one. I've been through a few. They've all been duds. Apparently, some good ones out there. So I'm told. You let me know. Is your missus supportive of the hobby? I hope so. So to sum up. Am I just an old, grumpy old bugger and, and I'm stuck in the 60s and 70s and they're the only kits I'd like? No. If you've watched this video to now, you'll see there were newer kits from Airfix that I've really enjoyed, okay? And it's only been that one 2024 Bulldog. It's the first time I've seen a new kit from Airfix and gone, oh, this is dreadful. Because they have changed. And in the last few years, I don't know what it is, they're trying to be Tamiya, they're trying to be Kawasaki or whatever it is, or Hasegawa. They don't need to be. Be Airfix. Airfix was wonderful. Airfix was joyful. Airfix was fun. Sure, there was complicated kits even back then. I've got a few of them. I've got the Bentley, right? The big blower Bentley. It's a big complex kit. Sure, but it's still going to be fun. There was the big old Spitfires, the 124 series and everything. I've got the Messerschmitt here and I've got a Hurricane, right? And I'll build them and they're going to be fun and I'm going to enjoy them. All the sailing ship kits from Airfix, right? All of those beautiful kits, incredible moulding on them, fantastic detail, but you can add more. And as you've seen with what I do, if you've watched any of my shipbuilding videos on this channel, you can take them to whatever level you want. They are fantastic. Or you can just build them out of the box. Hang them from the ceiling, go, what? It's a boat. So look, I'm not stuck in the 60s. I love the 60s, 70s because that's me reminiscing and going back. But I built a lot of modern kits. Have a look at my channel. See all the stuff I built. Not everything is from the past. There have been newer kits I've built that I have really enjoyed. But I'm very saddened to see where Airfix is heading now. If this Bulldog is the indication of the kind of kits they're now going to make, well, I'll be buying your product. Sorry. It's not Airfix. Anyhow, if you made it this far in the video, buttons. Apparently there's buttons. There's an algorithm we've got to feed, feed that greedy little algorithm. Yes. So I think it's some lick, snipe, and shop or something. I don't know, something like that. And if you really want to help me out, buy me a curry because I don't want to get too thin. I really don't. So there you go. No, Bask was around somewhere. I don't know. She'll usually come in at the end of this video, so sorry. But she was in last video, so go back and watch that if you want to see Bash the cat. All right, well, that's about it for now. That's about all I've got to say. I hope you enjoyed my perspective on things. Remember, my way is not the only way of modelling. I'm just expressing how I approach Airfix and how I approach modelling. And these are things that give me joy. If you like doing the other things, fantastic. That's really good. Okay? But it's just not my bag. That's all I'm saying. Alrighty. It's goodbye from Australia. And it's hooroo from Harry Houdini. I know. Yeah, I did the whole video without any pants on. But they're never going to know. They're never going to know I didn't. Leave my button pants alone.